continue.
Thank you, Chair. Massamba, can we pick it up at paragraph 73 of your affidavit, and that's where you deal with what you've called the third SAAT bid.
Yes.
Can you describe for us what this tender was?
This was the third bid that was advertised by SAA Technical for aircraft components, because the second bid was also not awarded to anyone.
So, was it withdrawn, or was a decision made that nobody was good enough for it, or what was the story? Second one.
There was no formal communication from SAT.
So they just, you were never told anything until there was what you call the third bid.
Yes, they cancelled, but they didn't
Explain.
The bid was not formally cancelled. We submitted the bid. We were expecting feedback, but there was no formal feedback that was sent to us. I don't know, maybe they would have sent it to AAR and they didn't communicate with me, but to my knowledge and from the communication I have with SAT, I don't have anything confirming the cancellation of the second bid.
Okay, now the third bid, was that still the same bid as the first and the second?
Yes, but the difference with the third bid is that it was only for 5 months and not 5 years.
The previous one was for 5 years.
The last two were 5 years each.
Yes.
Yes.
The last one that happened twice.
I'm sorry, Chief.
Chair, in fairness to Massamba, they were issued at least with separate bid numbers.
Oh, okay, but in substance it was the same thing.
In
same
substance,
job.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess it might be convenient to continue to call them first, second, and third bid.
Yes, thank you, Chair.
But you say the third one was the same, except that there was some difference. Namely,
Yes.
it was for 5 months and no longer for 5 years.
Yes,
Okay, that was the only difference.
that was the only difference.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
And do you know why a tender was issued for only 5 months?
We did inquire, and we were told that the current tender that was running, it was coming to an end, and they needed a temporary contract whilst they were working on the new technical requirements for the 5-year bid. So whoever was holding the contract at that time, the bid was coming to an end, and SAT decided that they advertise another one for 5 months, and during that 5 months it will give them time to work on the technical requirements of the next 5 years.
Can I ask you to turn to the email that you received sending you the tender document? That's at page 221.
Maybe just to make sure we get the time frames right. This was now around July 2015 when the third tender was advertised. 30 July 2015, is that right?
It was on the 30th of July 2015.
Yes, and the closing date was initially 10 August 2015.
Yes.
But this was extended to 17
August 2015, yes.
Okay, all right.
Massamba, can I ask you to go to page 221?
Yes.
Do you see the email there from Mr. Robertson?
Yes.
to Mr. Fidus.
Yes.
Who is Mr. Fidus?
Mr. Fidus is one of AAR Corporation managers.
And can I ask you just to read the very last sentence before it says kind regards?
All communications should be limited to the project manager, myself, or to Evelin, Fallot, Incopy.
Thank you. I'll return to that in a moment. If we can then pick it up at your affidavit from paragraph 75 and tell us what happened after the third bid was issued.
Mr. Leon Robertse issued the bid and it was sent straight to AAR. It was not on the website as usual. And then AAR forwarded the bid to me. Subsequent to that, AAR arranged a third teaming agreement for this 5 months bid with SRS. On the 10th of August 2015, Ms. Cheryl Jackson came to South Africa and I met with her at the restaurant in Sandton, and we discussed the bid because they had received the bid already, the third bid, and I wanted to negotiate with Ms. Cheryl Jackson that when we respond to this bid, I don't want to be part of the consortia. I want to remain as an independent partner in this consortia. Ms. Jackson at that time, she was also staying at Sandton at Michelangelo, so our meetings would be around where she booked the hotel. At that meeting also, she told me that Mr. Berger and Mr. Moore worked very hard in getting them to sign an MOU with SAT, the one that was signed at the Paris Air Show. And therefore, Mr. Moore and Mr. Berger, they will form a part of the consortia going forward. Meaning, what I was told before, that Mr. Rafiq Berger is only a consultant. At that meeting, the status quo changed, giving him an opportunity to now participate on the bid. Yes.
What had happened to the fact that, as I understood your evidence, after the Paris Air Show, you and AAR seemed not to want to, or that you didn't want to interact with them because you were aggrieved. You thought they invite you when it's convenient for them, and they don't invite you when it's not convenient for them. And I thought you said that Ms. Jackson, after that, seemed also to exclude you, or did I misunderstand? I got the impression that the relationship between SRS and AAR after the Paris Air Show party was not so good. But I see now you're back together, so what happened?
Okay, Chair.
Or did I misunderstand something?
Maybe a little bit. When Mr. Rafiq and Mr. Mure came to the picture, when they started featuring with AAR packed me on the side and operated with Mr. Mure and Mr. Berger's with their strategy, which they said it was different from mine. And leading up to the Paris Air Show, the decision I took not to go to the air show, yes, it was the beginning. It was when I was realizing that now I am being sidelined. So I decided that I will not go to the air show. But the relationship was not completely strained, yet I still believed that AER will come back on the table and we discuss how we're gonna work together going forward. Hence, I did email them congratulating them on the MOU signed. And subsequent to that, Ms. Jackson told me she's coming to South Africa. Let's have a sit down and discuss. Yes.
Well, I didn't ask you when you told me about emailing them, congratulating them, but I wanted to find out whether that was genuine congratulations or whether it wasn't really genuine.
It was genuine. I was
Okay.
congratulating them
Okay.
genuinely.
Despite the fact that they had done this without your involvement.
Yes, I'm a businesswoman. It was genuine. I congratulated them. They had reached a milestone. Yes, that's what I
Okay.
saw in front of me.
Okay, but at that time, am I right to say that was still the period during which you felt you were being sidelined?
Yes, it was at the beginning of me realizing that I'm actually being sidelined.
Okay.
Yes.
And so what was the outcome of your meeting with Ms. Jackson, which you've described at the meat company?
And then that's when she indicated that Mr. Berger is going to circulate a structure that will now respond with AAR on the third bid, the broad-based black economic structure referred to earlier.
And what did Ms. Jackson say to you at that meeting when you said you didn't want to be part of the consortium? You wanted to stand alone, having a partnership with AAR.
She insisted that Mr. Berger's has already negotiated with AAR that through his consulting engagement that he will create this broad-based black economic empowerment. So that is what they had agreed upon. So she didn't give me an option to exit from the consortia. It was, that's what we want to work with. The third bit we want to submit with one consortium, not with different parties. Yes.
Did you then accept that that was the position, then you would continue with them being part of the consortium, even though you would have preferred differently?
I didn't accept. I still pushed for SRS to submit as an independent to a point where I indicated to AAR that this consortia you're talking about is not formally constituted. The consortium doesn't exist. It's more like a plan that is on the table. So when you submit a bid, the consortium needs to be registered, there needs to be directors appointed, shareholders, certificates, all the regulatory required documentation, and the consortia didn't have that. It had not gone to that stage. So I was suggesting to Cheryl that they continue bidding with SRS as we've been bidding, because the company is ready. It complies with all the requirements. But that's when Ms. Jackson said, Mr. Rafiq, Bergers and Mr. Moore have worked very hard on the MOU, so we can't leave them out. They need to be part of the submission for the 5 months.
Yeah, but I want to understand what your attitude was after she had said that. Did you leave the meeting? Did you leave the meeting on an acceptance that if you were going to be part of the bid as SRS, you would have to be part of the consortium? Or did you leave the meeting on the understanding that you would submit your own separate bid? Or did you leave the meeting on the basis that you would submit something, say to SAT, you were part of the bid involving the consortium and AAR? What was the understanding, your attitude as you left the meeting in terms of where do you feature in this bid?
We didn't have a conclusion. She
But in
understood.
your own mind?
I was still waiting to see this structure.
Okay.
Because I had not received the structure yet.
Oh.
All I knew is that Cheryl assured me that I'm still the lead BEE partner.
Okay.
So I was still waiting for the structure.
And then tell us what happened after your meeting with Ms. Jackson at the meat company.
Are you refreshing your memory?
Yes, Chair, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, I've already indicated that AAR inquired why 5 months and not 5 years. And the feedback was given that the other contract is ending and they need somebody to hold the contract. And then Ms. Jackson started, indicating to me that she's been coming back and forth to South Africa to try and get this deal. It's been a long time. AAR has spent a lot of money trying to capture this market, and get into SAA technical. So she was frustrated. She also looked very much under pressure, and she told me that if she doesn't get this contract this time around, she is going to be dismissed from AAR. That was during the day when we met. Then later on, a few days after that meeting, we met again with Ms. Cheryl Jackson at Bukhara restaurant, which was just outside Michelangelo where she stayed. That meeting took place, it was in the evening. I don't have the specific date, but it was in August 2015. When we met at, I found her already at the restaurant because she called me and she didn't sound too good and she wanted to talk to me. So I went to see her. It was early evening. So I went to see her, I found her there. Miss Jackson was drinking. She was really frustrated. She vented verbally also her frustration about not managing to get this contract back and forth, and that AAR is now putting so much pressure on her to get the contract. So in that state, and she insisted that she wanted information from me that could help them to win this bid. So I took it as part of my fact finding or information finding for AAR, as I've been doing since we started the working relationship. And given that I had a very close now friendly relationship with Ms. Nontsasa Memela, then I called Ms. Nontsasa Memela at that time. I said, here is the situation I'm faced with right now at Bukhara Restaurant. Cheryl Jackson is drinking, she is so drunk, she's frustrated. She insists she wants information that can assist her to win the bid. What can we do? And then Ms. Nontsasa invited me to come to her in Albertine to get some information. So I told Cheryl that I am going to meet with Nontsasa to get some information that can assist.
That's Miss Memela.
Miss Memela, I apologize.
Was Albertine where she was working, or was that her home?
Her home.
Okay.
But we didn't meet at her home. She directed me to meet with her at the Shell garage as you enter Albertine, next to SARS offices, before you could proceed to the SARS offices at Albertine. So she came in her vehicle. I moved from my vehicle. I went inside to hers, and she saved information for me on the memory stick, which I took and went back to Bukhara Restaurant to Miss Jackson. So when I got to Miss Jackson at Bukhara Restaurant, I indicated to her that I do have some information, but I have a problem that I've been working for AAR for so many years, and you refuse to pay me a retainer, and you don't want to pay anything. So for me, that information was key for me at that time to ask Miss Cheryl Jackson to reconsider the decision of not paying me the retainer.
You've referred to information. What was the information?
The information, it was on a memory stick. It was an Excel spreadsheet that contained pricing for previous pricing for the same components bid.
And just take us through step by
I'm sorry,
step.
pricing provided by whom in regard to previous bids? By the entity that had the contract at the time that was going to come to an end, or by other bidders who had put in bids but they had not got the tender?
It was, I looked at that spreadsheet scanned, I basically scanned, and I saw the names of some of the bidders, like Air France, which was holding the contract at that time, and Lufthansa's name was mentioned on that spreadsheet, and I saw, those are the two that I remember very well that I saw on that spreadsheet. And Ms. Memela said to me, here's the information of the previous bids. Yes.
Okay.
You say that you asked Ms. Mamela whether she had any information for you. Did you ask her whether she could give you bid prices?
No, I said information. What information can she help with? Then she said I must come to her. But when I go to her, then she gave me the Excel spreadsheet which had the prices.
Chair, we have also received a response to a Rule 33 notice sent to Ms. Mamela. I'd like to take you to that, Ms. Sambo. It's at
Okay.
page 512, 512. This is the relevant part of her statement. It's not an affidavit, sorry. It's a statement in support of her cross-examination application.
Okay.
And at paragraph 8.2 on page 512, she says...
Well, is this an affidavit or just an
It's just a statement, Chair.
Why is it not an affidavit or a firm declaration? Don't the rules require that it should be, her version should be on affidavit or a firm declaration?
Chair, I don't believe so. I believe that she has the option to submit an affidavit or a statement, but we're just double checking that.
Have you found it?
Yes, if you go to Rule 3.4, Chair, an application in terms of Rule 3.3.6 above must be submitted in writing to the Secretary of the Commission with 14...
I'm sorry, what rule?
3.4.
3.4.
And you'll see there in the second sentence, Chair, of 3.4, the application must be accompanied by a statement from the implicated person.
No, later on there is a rule that says an application, where the rules require an application, that must be an application on affidavit. I think that's towards the end of the rules.
You may well be right about that, Chair. I believe it's 11.3, Chair, Rule 11.3.
Yeah, wherever these rules make provision for any person to apply to the Commission or to the Chairperson, the application must be a substantive application on affidavit with a notice of motion. The affidavit must, among other things, reflect the relevant facts, the order sought, and the grounds relied upon to seek that order. Now, she might not have applied for leave to cross-examine and just put up a statement, but do the provisions have provision for just a statement that's not under oath?
A statement that's not under oath as a response to a Rule 3.3 notice, Chair.
Do the rules make provision for that, or is the position that people who might not want to go under oath just can put up a statement without going under oath or an affirmation? Maybe for what it's worth, continue and
Yes.
put to her and then investigate the issue.
Chair,
Because it would be better if somebody has a version, they put their version under oath or an affirmed declaration.
Certainly, Chair.
Yeah, and not to challenge somebody's evidence that is given under oath on the basis of a document that's not under oath or that's not an affirmed declaration.
Indeed, Chair.
Let everybody be under oath or affirmed declaration for their versions, and then let's take it from there. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, are you happy for me to proceed to put
Yes,
Ms.
you
Mamela's
can
version?
do so for now, and then
Yes.
you can investigate later on, so that
We'll certainly do that.
going forward, we can look at that.
So, Massamba, I was at paragraph 8.2 on page 512.
Yes.
And there Ms. Mamela says, I deny and refute the allegation as false by Massamba in that I have never arranged to meet Massamba anywhere outside SAAT. I further deny and refute her allegation that I furnished her with a memory stick containing the identities of bidders and their bid prices. There is no way that I would have such information, Because in my capacity as HODSCM, what does that stand for?
I don't know.
I did not sit on the evaluation team cross-functional sourcing team. What is your response to that?
My response is that I have submitted evidence to the commission that Ms. Memela is allegation that we never met is not true. So the evidence is before the commission.
And tell us about that evidence.
What exactly would you like to know?
What evidence have you provided to the commission in support of your allegation that you met with Ms. Memela and obtained the flash disk?
No, she means her oral evidence, isn't it?
Excuse me, Chair?
You're talking about your oral evidence.
Oh, okay.
Or is there something else you have submitted in support of your evidence?
I have submitted the actual memory stick
Yes.
where the Excel spreadsheet was saved
Yes. Okay, take it from there.
Thank you. Massamba, can you just explain to us why you were only able to find the memory stick on Monday night when you gave it to the commission's investigators?
When I was initially looking for the memory stick, I was looking in my office, I was looking at home, I looked everywhere and I couldn't find the memory stick. Hence, when I was writing my affidavit, the memory stick was not there and I had put on the affidavit that I don't have the memory stick. Then on Friday, last Friday, if you could please remind me the date.
No, it's fine. Last Friday, yes.
Last Friday, I then had a consultation with my legal counsel and the commission investigators and the legal team. During that engagement, I was given all the feedback to notice 3.3 of the implicated parties on my affidavit. And all three of the statements that I received on Friday, one from Mr. Zwane, one from Ms. Kwinana, and one from Ms. Memela, all of them had a personal attack in my memory and the medical condition that I dealt with at the beginning of my statement. And over and above that, Ms. Memela denied the allegations that I've put on my statement. And I decided to go an extra mile to find this evidence. So on Friday, when I left Sentin from the consultation, I went home and I then called my ex-employees that I worked with at that time and requested them to please remind me, because the commission is sitting on the 4th and the 5th, and this is what I'm faced with. I need information. Please remind me. If there's anything that we can take back to the commission, please assist me. Then two of the former employees are in Soweto, which is Ms. Mazwi Sibeko and Samkelsiwe Sibeko. They are cousins. And I also invited my sister, because I worked with her, Ms. Tembelihle Twala. So it was the four of us. And as we were deliberating, that's when Mazwi said, I remember I have the memory stick, you gave it to me, but I'm going to look for it. So she gave me that undertaking. I went back home.
Mazwi being one of your former employees. Okay.
Yes. Then I went home comforted that we might get this evidence that will prove that I am telling the truth. On Saturday, I called Mazwi asking, did you find the memory stick? And she said to me, no, we haven't found the memory stick yet. But I do remember that I also gave it to a friend of mine to keep it for me, a lady by the name of Gugu. I don't know her surname. So I will try and get it and get the memory stick from Gugu. Then on Sunday, when I came back from church, I called again to find out if she has the memory stick. And she said no, she still doesn't have the memory stick in her possession. She will let me know on Monday morning. Monday morning came, and as I was about to start a meeting that I had on Monday, then I called again asking about the memory stick. And she said to me, they have found the memory stick. Then I arranged one of my current colleagues and asked him, his name is Mr. Spiwe Tembe, and asked him to go and fetch the memory stick for me from Mazwi. And then to go and fetch the memory stick because Mazwi said she is going to give the memory stick to Shadrach, because on that day she was moving houses from Deep Kloof to somewhere else. I don't remember where she was moving to, but it's easier to access Deep Kloof. So she will leave the memory stick with a gentleman called Shadrach, whom I know very well, that assists us when we move offices or move houses. He's got a van. He is their neighbor in Deep Kloof. So I got a text message from Spiwe, because I was already in the meeting now, saying I'm struggling to get hold of Shadrach. So I immediately sent him the contact numbers for Mazwi. I said, please talk to Mazwi, I'm in a meeting. So I gave him both Shadrach's number and Mazwi's number to talk to them. Then later on, when I checked my messages, he confirmed that he found the memory stick from Mazwi. Then I asked him to take the memory stick to a friend of mine who works just outside Deep Kloof. I don't know what that area is called. Taltin or something, just before you go to the stadium, who had planned to come and see me after work, when she leaves work. So I asked Spiwe to take the memory stick and give it to my friend, Miss Bawinile Malele, who was gonna bring it with when she comes to see me in the evening. And that's how the memory stick got to me.
It was a long journey for me.
It's quite a chain of custody.
Okay, let's try and get going.
Chair, can I say that Ms. Hofmeyer in her introduction explained the process that had happened within the Commission. The data forensic team has imaged the flash disk that Massamba provided to us.
Okay.
They have advised us that the properties of the spreadsheet that is on the flash disk show that it was created, last saved on the 3rd of August 2015, and that the user who saved it was Ms. Nonsasa Mamela. There's an affidavit forthcoming from the investigators within DFT.
Yeah. So those are the technical people who have looked at the computers and so on.
Indeed, Chair.
Okay.
Chair, we've also printed a copy of the spreadsheet, which we've included in Massamba's bundle.
Okay.
And perhaps we can go there.
Okay. Before you proceed, let's go back to the meeting that you say you had with Ms. Mamela at the Shell Garage in Alberton. Did you say Shell Garage?
Shell Garage.
Yes, next to
Confirmed.
SARS. not
Yes,
far from SARS.
Not far from SARS.
Yes. How did it come about that that spot was chosen, and who chose the spot as the spot where the two of you should meet?
Miss Memela lives in Alberton, so she's the one who suggested we meet.
Is that what she told you at the time, that she lived in Alberton, or is that what you know?
No, this is what I knew. Remember, it was over the time, and I've indicated
You had become friends.
that we've become friends.
So
So,
you-
I knew that she lives
Yes.
in Alberton, yes.
But at that time, when you met her at the Shell garage, had you been to her house or her home already, or not really?
In the past years, I've visited
You
her.
had been to her
Yes.
home,
Yes,
and
I've
you
visited.
know it is in Alberton.
I know it is in Alberton.
And where did was she working at the airport? Where did she work?
She worked at the airport at SAA Technical.
So the Shell garage was on her way home. Was that on her way home? Would that be more or less the place where she would pass if she was going home, or not really?
Yes, it is on
It
her way
was on her
home.
way.
Yeah, it's just as you on ramp.
Yes.
Yes.
And where were you coming from? Where were
From
your
Sentin,
offices?
I was coming from Sentin, from
From the
Bukhara
meeting.
restaurant,
From the meeting.
from the meeting with Miss Jackson.
Yes. Okay, all right. So you say she was the one who suggested that you meet
at
at
Yes.
the Shell garage, but initially she had said at home.
No,
She-
she did not.
Oh, I thought you had said she said you should come to her home, but later she changed and said let's meet at the garage.
No.
No,
I-
she said Shell garage.
Shell garage.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Chair. Ms. Sambo, can I ask you to turn to page 553?
Yes, I've got it.
And you'll see that from 553 to 557,
Yes.
do you recognize those spreadsheets?
Yes, I do.
What are they?
This is the pricing for the components bid.
Just repeat that. What are they?
It's the pricing for the component bid.
Where did you get it from?
I got it from Miss Memela
Through the memory stick.
through the memory stick. Yes.
Yes, all 3 pages.
Yes.
There are
Are there more than 3?
five pages.
Oh, okay.
Each page represents a tab
Yeah.
from the Excel spreadsheet.
Yes. Okay. So these are the spreadsheets that you got from the memory stick that Ms. Memela gave you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And Ms. Sambo, what did you do with this information?
On the night that I received the memory stick, I didn't do anything with the information, but I went back to Ms. Jackson and told her that I've got the information, I've got the pricing. I actually told her because at that time I already knew it is the information is the pricing.
Did you know that from what Ms. Memela had told you at the meeting at the Shell garage?
No, when she saved the memory stick, she opened, she was sitting on the driver's seat when I was
Yes,
sitting,
that's what
and
I
she
mean.
opened
Or
her
she
laptop.
opened, or then
and
you saw?
Yes, and she saved.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And she said this is the pricing of the last bids.
Mm.
Yes.
And so tell us what happened next. What did you do with the flash disk?
Then I went home, after the meeting with Ms. Jackson, I went home with the disc.
And how did the meeting with Ms. Jackson end? And I remember at some stage you said to her you were not going to give her the information. You have got the information, but you won't give it to her because you want your 100 million rand.
No, I never asked for 100 million.
Okay, maybe you didn't say that, but you said you want to be paid.
I asked her to review her decision or the AAR's decision not to pay me
Yeah.
my retainer
Yes.
fees for the work that I do.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry, you didn't say 100
No,
million,
no,
100.
no, 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 no.
But
no.
did you say how much you believed you should be paid?
No, 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 no. We didn't
Oh,
even
okay.
talk about the figures.
Okay, did she refuse to review?
Well, no, she didn't agree, nor did she refuse.
Yeah, what did
Yes,
she say?
she was very drunk. I'm sorry to say
Oh,
that. That night
okay.
she was
Okay.
completely drunk. That's when she even told me that she had cancer and she had recently divorced. It was a lot of things.
Yeah.
So we couldn't have a very constructive discussion. Then I left. We agreed that we'll meet again.
Did you say your meeting with her was in the evening?
It was in the evening, early
Wait.
evening.
It had started around what time before you went to the Shell Garage meeting?
It would have been around 5:30, 6 p.m.
Okay, and what time did you meet with Miss Memela at the Shell Garage, more or less?
It could have been around 7 p.m.
Oh, okay, and then from there you went back to Senton to your
Yes.
meeting with Miss Jackson,
Yes.
and later on you went home.
Then I went home.
Okay, all right.
Massamba, you did ask Ms. Jackson if she would pay you, in which case you would give her the flash disk. Is that right?
It was not a condition like that. It was asking her to review the decision of paying me a retainer, because I've been doing a lot of work and they don't want to pay me. And with the information at hand, for me, I thought I would use that as a leverage, but not to say she's paying only for this information, but for them to review the decision of paying me my retainer for all the work I've been doing.
Is the reason that you didn't give her the flash disk because she wouldn't pay you the retainer?
No.
Why didn't you give her the flash disk?
When I got back to her and I started negotiating my retainer, because I have this information now,
Which she wanted?
which she wanted,
Yeah.
she cried foul, saying that in the United States, if she were to pay me now, because I've got this pricing information of the bid that was running at that time, it will be regarded as bribery and corruption. As soon as she said that, I said, you know, inside myself, I'm like, thank you for opening my eyes. I actually didn't think it was bribery and corruption. So I'm not going to give you the information. That's how I left with the information.
Massamba, do you accept that asking SAAT for any tender information while a bid was open was wrong?
Yes, it was wrong. At that time, my judgment was clouded. When I was doing it at that time, my judgment was clouded. I have this pressure, Rafiq is delivering, is making those introductions. This side, I'm being sidelined, it's like I'm not performing. And this one is crying foul. And I thought, okay, let me get this. But then when I realized that what I'm doing is wrong, I did not give the information. I held the information, and hence the memory stick ended up even moving from me to be kept away, far away from me. So yes, I realized it was wrong to take it. I admit it was wrong.
And you never gave the information to Miss
Nope.
Jackson?
Nope, I never
Yes.
gave them any information.
Okay.
Massamba, if we can then pick it up at paragraph 83 of your affidavit. And just tell us what happened after your meeting at Bukhara restaurant with Ms. Jackson.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, that's on page 24.
Oh. Okay. You were asking about which element?
I'm just asking you to tell us what happens next after the meeting with Ms. Jackson at Bukhara.
Oh, okay, all right. So, after that meeting at Bukhara, I received an invitation to attend a meeting now by that group from the broad-based Black Economic Empowerment structure. And the meeting was scheduled to take place in Cape Town for us to discuss how we're going to respond to this bid. I couldn't travel to Cape Town, but rather requested that once they are together, they can call me so that I join the meeting in a form of a teleconference. Yes. During that phone call, Mr. Berger informed me that they will use my company documents to respond on the bid. So when the bid goes in, it will still be mentioned as AAR and SRS Aviation. However, I must know that once we get the contract, that structure that was on the table with the names of people I didn't know would kick in. So I actually taped that discussion because already at that time I was aware of what is the plans and the activities. I decided, I was with one of my employees, and we decided to tape the discussion with a recorder. So Mr. Berger just mentioned this is what we're going to do.
Is this the telephone discussion or is this now in a meeting that you decided to record?
It is in the telephone discussion.
Okay.
I put Mr. Berger on a speaker, and Sam Kelsey, we had the recorder with her. So we recorded the communication. So, and then that's what Mr. Berger indicated. I didn't dispute, I just said, okay. And I asked to be excused because I was driving. Yes.
And what did you do with that recording?
That recording, unfortunately, is one of the things that we have lost. It's something that we're still looking for. So if we find the
Which
recording...
you might still find.
If we find the recording, we will submit it to the commission. Samke believes that we downloaded it to one of the laptops, the recording, but in the laptops that I still have, there's no recording. So,
Okay.
yes.
All right, and what then happened after your teleconference, which you recorded?
After that, then that's, excuse me, can I refer, Chair, to my document?
Yes.
Okay, on the 13th of August, we received an email. When I say we, myself and other members of the consortia, we received an email from Ms. Jackson, formally indicating that AAR will be responding to the components bid that SAT emailed to them directly. And the email sought to formalize that relationship with the consortia. The consortia at that time, when I look back on the documents, there are two different names that were used. There was Africa Aviation, and later it was called diese Aviation, the consortia that was formed. On the same day, I also received Ms. Jackson's call asking me if I would be able to physically go and submit the tender document when it's completed. The plan was for them to work on the bid, email it to me, and then I would go and print, bind, and submit. So at that time, I agreed. However, before AAR submitted the components bid, I called Ms. Jackson and requested that I want to be excluded from this contract. And the main reasons why I wanted to be excluded from the contract is that I was not comfortable with the consortia, as I had been discussing with Ms. Jackson. And secondly, I didn't like the attitude from Mr. Rafiq Berger, who was now instructing me that my company document will be used to partner and submit this bid. And thirdly, because I realized that I have information that would potentially have a bad record on my name, I decided that I will not give them the information and I will not participate on the bid. So I walked away.
And what was the reaction to you walking away?
Sorry?
What was the reaction
From Ms. Jackson.
from Ms. Jackson and AAR to you walking away?
Ms. Jackson called several times that day. She still insisted that it was the first time after I had indicated that I am walking away that Ms. Jackson offered that AR will pay me my consulting fee. So I said to Ms. Jackson, it's too late. I have made a decision. I will not participate. However, I would like us to go back to the drawing board, sit around the table, and let's fix this relationship. For now, because the contract is only for 5 months, I won't have much to lose. You can continue with your consortia. I will stand back, but let's sit around the table and agree to agree or agree to disagree. That is what I proposed to Ms. Jackson. Then Ms. Jackson responded to say, if I walk away from the 5 months contract, I must know that they will not even work with me on the 5-year contract. So I still confirmed that I'm choosing to walk. So I walked.
And did the issue of the information on the flash disk ever arise again?
On the phone calls, when she was offering now my consulting fee, she was insisting to call me with the guys who work on the technical part of the bid on a conference call so that I give them the information. Then I said no. So that was the end of that discussion with the memory stick.
All right, and let's pick it up at paragraph 90 of the affidavit, and tell us what happened after you refused to give the memory stick.
Sorry?
Tell us what happened after you decided to walk away and refused to provide them with the information on the memory stick.
No, I decided I didn't participate on the contract with them, but I still sent emails requesting to meet with them when they come to South Africa.
And do you know whether the bid that was submitted still contained your company documents?
I was in the dark till I received a call from Mr. Etienne Bandenhost. Can I confirm the name and surname?
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's at paragraph 96 you refer to Mr. Badenhorst.
Yes, Mr. Etienne Bandenhost from Ernst & Young requesting to interview me because Ernst & Young had been appointed to investigate to do an internal investigation of various contracts within SAA as a whole, not SAT only, SAA as a whole. So my response to him was, I don't have a contract with SAA or SAAT, why would you want to interview me? Then he said my name feature on the components contract. Then I indicated that I did not bid on the, because he called, when he contacted me, there was no, the tender had closed, but it had not been awarded. So it was during the process of adjudication of that bid. So he requested that if I could come to SAA offices for an interview. So I agreed. But this time, because I always go alone, I decided I'm going to take one of my employees. So I requested Ms. Sibeko, Samkelisiwe Sibeko, to attend the meeting with me because I was confused. Why do they need to interview me? So we arrived at SAA. He introduced himself again, as I've indicated. He interviewed me, and I gave the statement as I'm giving the statement here to the commission, to the best ability of the memory I had at that time. And at that time, I still had the recording as well, which I indicated I have, but I indicated that I'm not sure if I should give it to him because I didn't tell the other party that I was recording them. So I did not give the recording to Ernst & Young, but I still had SMS or WhatsApp communication between myself and Ms. Jackson asking to be released from the bid and all that. So when we concluded our interview, it's only then that he told me that I'm being interviewed because AAR decided to still put in my documents because they are in diese, on diese, or this other company did not have any formalized documents. They would have been disqualified for not having the BEE component. So it was the first time I realized that AAR proceeded to use my documents without my knowledge.
Thank you. And if we can then go to paragraph 99 of your affidavit, and if you could just explain what happened after you met with Mr. Badenhorst.
Okay, post the meeting that I had with Mr. Badenhorst, it was about September 2015. I was invited by Ms. Jackson to come in and discuss the BEE structure in planning for the 5-year contract. I was surprised to be invited after I had walked away from...
Ms. Jackson invited you?
Ms. Jackson invited me and said there will be a meeting with the members of the consortia to discuss a way forward in planning for the 5-year contract.
Was this the first contact or communication you were having with Ms. Jackson since the conversation where she said if you walk away you must know that they would not work with you on the 5-year contract? Or there had been communication in between?
I would have to go back to my emails and check, but
You are not sure?
I do believe there was communication where I expressed my grievance of how they managed or mismanaged the whole process of bringing in new partners and forcing me to be part of that, and the whole issue about information they want, but now they introducing the bribery and the corruption element. So I was not happy about that. There is a grievance that I had sent.
Okay.
Yes. So I indicated to Ms. Jackson that the last time we spoke, the discussion was not in a cordial or happy manner. So I would like to meet with her first before going to that meeting. At that time, she had booked in at the Intercontinental Hotel at OR Tambo. So I went in there, it was in the morning. I don't have the exact date, but it was in September 2015. I went in there. As I went in at the foyer, as you come in, or at the, what do you call it, a corridor, but it's a lounge sort of. I saw Miss Jackson sitting with Mr. Vuyonzeko that I could recognize because I knew him. And I was surprised.
Do you want to spell Nzeku or the surname for the transcription?
Yes, it's NDZEKU, Mr.
Yes.
Nzeku.
Yes, okay.
So I found Miss Jackson sitting with Mr. Nzeku at the foyer. And as I came in, Mr. Nzeku immediately stood up and in a very flamboyant way said, "Hi, Miss Sambo, good to see you." And he now tried to introduce me to Cheryl and say, "Cheryl, this is Miss Sambo. She is our bright star in aviation. If you talk aviation in South Africa, you will hear the name Sibongile Sambo." You know, like, but at that time, I'm confused. I'm trying to place Mr. Nzeku and Miss Cheryl Jackson together. And before I could even respond much, I just smiled and, you know, listened to this statement. And immediately, Mr. Nzeku offered to explain why he is with Miss Jackson. And he indicated to me that he met Miss Jackson on a flight from somewhere in the continent, in our continent, African continent. I don't remember the country. But when they met, they were introduced to each other by a common friend who was an ambassador. I can't recall which country he mentioned. And they want to import and export coffee. Basically, that is what he mentioned. And he offered to, and he said goodbye to Cheryl, and they were gonna see each other later, and he left because I had a meeting with Ms. Jackson.
And how did you know Mr. Nzeku from before?
Mr. Nzeku was introduced to me by a friend who said, "I know somebody else who is in aviation. He is one of the shareholders at Swissport. So I would like to introduce the two of you." So I was introduced to Mr. Nzeku, and that was years before the components bids. That's how I know him.
Let's get to your meeting with Miss Jackson. What happened?
At the meeting with Ms. Jackson, we both vented out the previous experience that we had. And I asked Ms. Jackson if they would still consider working with me when the 5-year contract comes out. And she indicated that the people at AR were extremely disappointed with me dropping them at the last minute, the way I did. So as she was sitting there at that time, she cannot confirm whether I would still work with them or not. But she still invited me in to the meeting that she had planned to have with the members of the consortia, and Ms. Mdlulwa was going to be at the meeting as well. So that was the discussion that I had with Ms. Jackson. She said, let's see, let's have a discussion, we'll take it from there.
And did you then go into the meeting with the rest of the consortium?
Yes, I did.
And tell us about that meeting.
In that meeting, it was brief. We introduced ourselves. The people that I remember were in the room was Miss Kukim Mdlulwa, which was referred to as Ihashi in the previously, and it was myself representing SRS, Aviation, and it was Advocate Kellerman who was representing the consortia. She was working with Mr. Rafiq Berger's. At that meeting, it was very straightforward. Ms. Mdlulwa indicated that she was there to come and tell AAR that her people that she's representing, which is Ms. Kwinana and her people at SAT, wants the 100 million from AAR to make sure that they get the contract. And then Ms. Mdlulwa also confirmed that the 100 million exclude anyone else but for Ms. Yake Kwinana and her people at SAT. And she also indicated that, Sbongile, we found you here with AAR, you will continue your negotiations directly with AAR, which I agreed to. And then Ms. Jackson wanted to know from Advocate Kellerman if they also have an advance requirement. And Ms. Kellerman was very clear that no, they don't want any cash up front, but they see this as a long-term relationship that they can build with AAR. That is what I remember at that meeting.
Just remind me, whom did Ms. Kellerman represent?
Mr. Rafiq Bergers and the members of that consortia.
Or was she part of the consortium, or was she only a representative of a lawyer for the consortium?
My understanding is that she was the lawyer, but she was also allocated shares. But can we just refer to the structure? Do we have it in the bundle?
We do have the structure. The structure is at page 234.
Okay. Well, if she just tells me, or you tell me what her capacity was, that will do. Was she part of the consortium as well?
Chair, I'm not sure if she was a shareholder of the consortium. If you turn to 235, it lists the shareholders.
Okay. Well,
she isn't listed as a shareholder either.
No, she's
in
not.
her personal capacity,
Yes.
or as
Yes.
a member of one of the organizations. The
okay,
company.
all right.
Yes, no, she's
But
not.
at the meeting, did she say anything to indicate how she came into the meeting, or did she simply say she was representing the consortium?
She said she was representing the consortium.
Okay.
No, she is actually a shareholder. If you look at page 235, the second last point, it refers to ZK Consulting Services held by Zarina Kellerman.
Indeed.
Okay, so she was part of the consortium.
Yes.
And I see that in the shareholding structure, ZK Consulting Services held 8.33% of Mzansi Aviation Women's Consortium,
Okay.
which in turn held 33.33% of the.
So Ms.
Mzansi
Kwinana was not part of the consortium, but as you understood the position, Ms. Mdlulwa represented her at this meeting.
Yes, Ms. Mdlulwa, yes, represented Miss
Miss
Yakwe
Kwinan.
Kwinan. Yes,
Yeah,
she was
oh.
not part of the consortium.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
And did Ms. Mdlulwa make it clear to everyone that she was acting on behalf of Ms. Kwinana?
Yes.
And the request for 100 million rand payment, did she make that openly to the whole meeting?
Yes.
What was Ms. Jackson's response to this request for the payment of 100 million rand?
She said she doesn't have the authority to approve anything. She would go back and discuss it with her principals.
Was she the only person representing AAR there?
As far as I remember.
Yes, okay.
And how did other people in the meeting react?
Ms. Kellerman was very clear that they don't want any cash up front. They want to have a long-lasting working relationship with AAR. I was on the same boat that I've been working with AAR anyway, so I would like to continue working with AAR as an independent company.
Did Ms. Mkudlwa say what the 100 million rand was going to be for?
No, she did not.
Did anybody ask, did Ms. Jackson ask her what would this 100 million rand be for?
Sorry, Chairperson, she was very clear that she is representing Miss Yakwe Kwinan, and Miss Yakwe Kwinan, that is that amount that she wants to make sure that AAR gets the contract.
Did she say that at the meeting?
She said that at the meeting, yes.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Massamba, we can then turn to to what you describe as the fourth bid.
There?
The fourth SAAT bid. That's on page 33.
Page?
Page 33, paragraph 113.
Sorry, I was paging the annex just 33. Page 33.
Of your affidavit, page
Yes,
33 of
I'm
your
going
affidavit.
Okay.
And you deal there with what you describe as the fourth SAAT bid. Can you describe this tender for us?
Let's just finalize on the 5-month one, because I'm not sure that I know what ultimately happened to that tender. The 5-month one, you were not interested in it. You told Ms. Jackson, and you decided to walk away. Do you know
Yes.
whether they ultimately got the 5-month tender? That is AAR.
I was no longer part of that contract, so I didn't have any formal communication indicating whether they got the contract or not.
To this day,
But-
you don't know.
What I know by now,
Yeah,
after
yeah.
effect, is that that contract was also not awarded to any, or as far as I know, it was not awarded to anyone, or I didn't get any feedback whether it was
Yes.
awarded to anyone. That one I
You
don't know. I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
okay, all right.
Massamba, can you then tell us what the fourth tender was?
The fourth tender was the components bid again, and this time around it was the full 5-year contract, and it was an open tender. When I saw this tender, as usual, I downloaded it, sent it to Ms. Jackson at AAR, and requested that we work together on the bid.
Now, you said earlier on that when you asked her at the last meeting, I think where you, Mr. Nzegu, where
Yes.
you met Mr. Nzegu, when you asked her whether they could still work with you on the 5-year contract, she said she was not sure because other people were very disappointed at the fact that you dropped out when they needed you. Had she, in the meantime, come back to you to say whether they were prepared to work with you on the 5-year contract by the time this tender was advertised?
No, there was no discussion. So
Yeah.
when I saw the tender, I just downloaded it, forwarded it to them.
Yeah,
As usual, ask them that we respond to
okay,
the bid together, yes.
okay.
And what was the response to that?
There was no response at all.
And tell us what happened after the RFP was issued, picking up from paragraph 114.
Thereafter, I received a call from Ms. Memela suggesting that the chairperson, Ms. Yakekwinana, wanted to meet with me again, and they suggested we meet at the Emperor's Palace because Ms. Memela was at work, then she could quickly pop into the meeting and then go back to work. I agreed to that. We met at the Spare, I think it's called the Spare Ranch, Gold Rush Spare Steak Ranch, inside Emperor's Palace. At that meeting, Ms. Kwinana wanted to know if I have resolved my issues with AAR, because at that time, they knew that I walked away from the 5 months contract because I had been talking to Ms. Memela. Yes. So at that meeting, Ms. Kwinana also wanted to...
Well, I just mentioned this, and Mr. Mbigwa, you can take it further if you want to take it further, and Ms. Sambo, you can comment if you want to comment. It's possible that she might say that she asked about your relationship with them because on her version you had told her at the was it the Protea Hotel meeting?
Yes.
About your problems with them and asking her to intervene or them to intervene. I'm just saying she might say that's why she asked, because you had told her, not because she had heard from Ms. Memela about your problems with them.
I would dispute with her in response, because at that time, I don't think I had walked away from the bid. So, yes.
I interrupted you. So you can continue.
Yes, so at that meeting, Ms. Kwinana wanted to know the relationship with myself and AAR, if it was still intact, and also wanted to know if I have seen Mr. Nzeko with Ms. Jackson before this 4th bid was advertised. I've been discussing with Ms. Memela very often, about the activities of AAR, of my relationship with AAR, so I assumed that she would be privy to that information through Ms. Memela. And when I'm with Ms. Memela, or when I speak to Ms. Memela, I would express the disappointment in how AAR has treated me in the whole process. And at this meeting, Ms. Kwinana said she could, because at that time I was then told that AAR is partnering, Ms. Memela had told me that AAR is partnering with Mr. Nzeko's company, JM Aviation. And then that's when I realized why Mr. Nzeko met with Ms. Jackson in September at the Intercontinental Hotel. So it confirmed, this meeting confirmed that they were already discussing a possible partnership for the 5-year contract. Yes.
What had happened in the meantime to the consortium that was led by Mr. More?
It disappeared. I don't know what
Where-
happened.
Do you know when about it disappeared, or did it disappear when the third tender was withdrawn or cancelled? When they didn't get that tender, maybe? You don't know.
I've not heard of them since the third
Yeah.
bid, yes.
Yeah, by the time you saw Mr. Nzegu with Ms. Jackson, you had not
No, that, on that particular day when I saw Ms. Jackson and
Mr. Nzegu.
Mr. Nzeku, that's when there was that meeting where Ms. Kukimbrula was
Oh.
and Advocate Kellerman
Oh, so that-
was and myself. That was the last time.
The consortium was still in place at the time.
At that time,
Yes.
because, yeah,
Okay.
yes, sorry
Okay.
to say, yeah.
And tell us what happened after your meeting with Ms. Kwinana and Ms. Mamela at the Spur at Emperor's Palace.
At that meeting, it came across as if Ms. Kwinana is the one who's now driving, who AR is in control. It was more like she's in control now of who must ultimately partner with AAR. Because at the meeting, she called Ms. Jackson to find out if they could drop Mr. Nzeku and revive my relationship with AAR. But there was no conclusion. There was no conclusion on that telephone call. And I don't remember the other details of that meeting, but Ms. Kwinana wanted to know if I know Mr. Nzeku. Because I had mentioned to Ms. Memela in our informal discussions that I know Mr. Nzeku and I know him running a fuel or petroleum company because he had an agency with ENI or ENI, a petroleum company from Spain, and I know him. So they wanted to know what is it that I know about him, and I told them they can Google. Mr. Nzeku's information is on Google. So yes.
If we can then pick it up at paragraph 117 and tell us what happened next.
Okay, so in January 2016, Ms. Memela contacted me that she wanted to have a meeting with me. She's got information regarding the outcome of the bid,
The fourth bid.
the fourth bid, which she also knew that I did not submit because I couldn't get a partner with technical expertise to submit the bid with. So I met with Advocate Memela in Albertine, because she lives in Albertine.
That's the same Memela you have been referring to throughout your evidence.
Yes, that's the same, that is the same Memela
Yeah.
that I'm referring to.
Yeah.
And she...
You say you met with her this time around. Where did you meet?
We met at the Max's restaurant
In Alberton.
in Albertine.
Yes.
I might have the sequence of events,
You might be getting that wrong.
yes,
Okay, but at some stage you met with her in Alberton.
Yes, at some stage I met with her in Albertine, and she indicated to me that the bid was awarded to AAR with JM Aviation. So I didn't take the news very well. I actually broke down. I literally broke down so badly that it seemed like I was told the news that a very close family member had passed away. It cut so deep inside me. I couldn't hide it. People at the restaurant were looking at me. Why am I crying so hard? You know, and the reason why I was crying is the realization of I would say feeling and knowing that I've really been stabbed at the back, working so hard, putting in all my efforts and financial resources and human resources and everything, and introducing AAR and, you know, going all out for AAR, and the next thing somebody else just come in like that and they are awarded a 1.3 billion rands contract that I worked for.
Was that the value of the tender?
That is the value of the tender that Ms. Memela indicated to me when she told me it was awarded, and the value was 1.2 billion. Yes, yes. So at that time, Ms. Memela just realized also what she has done. I don't think she expected that I would react in that way, and she became very defensive in that I was now very hard on her, wanting to know what really happened. How did Mr. Nzeku get to partner with AAR? And that's when she indicated to me that Miss Kwinana introduced Mr. Nzeku to her, and she also asked her to assist Mr. Nzeku in preparing the bid.
Who is the she? Who is the her now?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Who is Miss Kwinana? Who is
Miss
Memela?
Kwinana, the chairperson of SAA Technical, requested Miss Memela, the head of procurement at South African Airways, to assist Mr. Nzeku from JM Aviation in preparing for the submission of the bid.
Okay. This you were told by Miss Memela at this meeting, at your second meeting that you have told me about in Alberton.
Yes.
Let's go back a little bit. That meeting, who requested that the two of you have a meeting? Was it Miss Memela or yourself?
Miss Memela, she wanted to break the news to me.
And she would have known that you had not been part of those who put in a bid, didn't put in
Yes.
a bid. And why would she have wanted to have a meeting to break the news to you?
Because she knew how hard and how much I really wanted these components, you know,
Or
business.
this particular job?
Yes.
Okay.
And because we had developed
Yeah.
a friendship in the process.
Yes.
So we were talking about anything
Yeah.
and everything.
Okay.
So she
okay.
felt that she felt she needed to
needed to
tell
tell
me
you, yeah.
before I could hear it on the news.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So it continues. So she was surprised that you reacted to this news the way you did. You cried and so on.
Yes.
Yes. And
So
what did she say? You said she became defensive. What did she say?
Yeah, yes, Chair, because now I was questioning, you know, her role in all this. Then that's when she indicated that Miss Siake Kwinane, the chairperson of SAA Technical, had requested her to assist Mr. Nzego in preparing for the bid and for the bid submission. And also she told me that Mr. Nzego also requested her to, because she's an advocate by profession, asked her to assist in the joint venture, the joint venture between JM Aviation and AAR Corporation. So to prove what she was telling me, then she emailed me the emails that I'm now talking about on page 34.
The email was to prove what?
To prove to me that she was assisting.
Mr. Nzego.
That she assisted, yes, Mr. Nzego. She initially sent in the draft joint venture agreement, which was sent to her to assist in that documentation. And then later on, she also forwarded a trail of emails that were going back and forth between AAR, JM Aviation, and her. So she emailed me that trail of, she emailed to me that trail of emails.
That is now after the meeting. After the meeting in which she broke the news to you.
I would have to confirm the exact sequence, yes.
Okay, but at some stage.
Yes, this is the area where the sequence is
problematic.
Is problematic, but
Okay.
the content is correct, but the
Yes.
sequence could be disjointed, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Chair, it may assist if we actually go to the emails. I
Let
think
us go to the emails, yes.
if we can go to page 367. Massamba, who is that email in the middle of the page from?
This was from Ms. Nonsasa Memela, dated the 23rd of January 2016, and it was sent to my iCloud account.
Okay, and then the email that she's forwarding to you, who is that from?
The email subject was the draft proposal, and Ms. Memela had received it on the 14th of January from Ms. Kosi Sokulu from JM Aviation.
And can you read the content of the email?
Hi, Kaz. So here is the latest proposal. Please let me know if it is acceptable.
And if we can turn
Well, maybe
over-
she can read the Ms. Sokulu's email address there into the record. Just read that email address from Ms. Sokulu. It indicates her connection with the JM Aviation entity.
The email address is kosi@jmaviationsa.com.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
And if you turn over 2 pages to 369. This is the attachment to the email. Can you
Yes.
Can you read what its title is in the middle of the page there?
I see the AR logo and the JM Aviation logo, and the title is Proposal for South African Airways. This AR proposal outlines component support for SAA Technical's fleet of Airbus A390s, A320s, A330, A340, and Boeing 737 aircraft.
Thank you. Can I then ask you to turn to page 339?
I'm sorry. The proposal starts at 369.
Indeed, Chair.
Up to where does it go? Do you want her to identify up to what page it goes?
Yes, can you identify the last page? Just before the tab that says 44.
It goes to, okay, which page
You
number?
can just give us the page number in the bundle. It starts
the
on,
bundle,
it starts on
not-
page 369. Where does it finish in the bundle?
At 442.
Thank you.
Okay, so that, all those pages, that's the proposal. Is that the proposal that was sent to Ms. Memela in terms of the email we looked at a few minutes ago from Ms. Sokulu of JM Aviation? Is that right?
Yes, it's correct.
And all this was sent to you by
Miss
Ms.
Memela.
Memela
Yes.
to show that she had been involved in assisting JM Aviation.
For me, that's what I believed at the time when I
Yes.
received, given the context of the discussion I had with her.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
If we can just turn to the other email that Ms. Mamela forwarded to you, that's at 339.
Yes. This email it came from Ms. Nonsasa Memela on the 23rd of January 2016. It was sent to my iCloud email address, and the title and the subject was Joint Venture Draft Agreement.
Thank you. And who was it sent by?
The trail of emails shows that the initial document came from Ms. Kosi Sokulu from Kosi at jmaviationsa.com, and it was sent to Ms. Nonsasa Memela on her iCloud account.
Give the date and the time of the email that was sent to Ms. Memela.
The date is the 14th of January 2016 at 4 p.m. at 4:01:34 seconds p.m. So
Yes.
at 4 p.m. half past 4 p.m.
And can you read that email for us, please?
Hi, cousin. This is the first draft of the JV so far. Jules did a quick review and noticed the following. 1A, apostrophe I, agreed participation, JM 5%, AAR 95%. Then there's a 6, participation interest, JM 5%, AAR 95%.
You can pause there, Ms. Sambo. Do you know what the relationship was between Ms. Sokulu and Ms. Mamela?
No, I didn't know the relationship. I just saw the cousin cars on the trail of emails.
I was going to ask you to confirm that the high cars that you read earlier on is a reference to cousin.
Yes, the first one is
It's a short version.
short version cars, but the second one is in full cousin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you know who Jules was? That the one you have just read refers to Jules having done a quick review and noticed certain things.
No, I don't know
You
who
did not
Jules.
know. Okay.
Yes.
The allegation that that Ms. Mamela told you that she had been asked by Ms. Quinana to assist JM Aviation with its bid is one that she has responded to in her statement. If I can ask you to turn to page 512.
Yes.
And at paragraph 8.3, she says, upon realizing that Massamba had no knowledge of what is expected of her as a local black-owned company regarding supplier development, I forwarded her a draft copy of JM proposal that was sent to me to guide them on supplier development, since supplier development was a new program to all the local black-owned companies. Therefore, it was my duty to guide all black-owned local suppliers specifically on the part of supplier development, and Massamba is well aware of this fact. Triple BEE and supplier development were part of my business scorecard. Since Massamba had expressed her intention to either approach Air France and or Lufthansa as their local black-owned company, I saw it fit to forward her a draft from other black-owned companies to guide her and ensure that she knows what role she would play as their BEE partner. There is absolutely nowhere in the track changes of the draft proposal that was sent to her where it shows that I had worked or commented on their proposal, as the intention was merely to guide them on the supplier development part, which I also did for others. I'll pause there and ask you to comment on that, Massamba.
I would find her statement as not authentic, because at the time that I was dealing with SAA technical and trying to do business with AAR, during that same period, I was the deputy chairperson of the Triple BEE Charter Council for the whole Department of Transport. And there is no way that I would not understand the requirements of the Triple BEE scorecard. So I would argue this. I think Ms. Memela, let me pause there. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Well, I see, Mr. Mbigiwa, that Ms. Memela, she seems to say she is not giving her full version here. She reserves the right to give her full version somewhere else. That's not good enough. If she has a version, Chair, we must have the whole version here.
Chair, fortunately she has been summoned to appear on Friday,
yes,
which gives us the opportunity to ask her to confirm under oath
yes,
this version and to ask her the remainder of her version.
Well, it's Wednesday today. If there's somebody representing her, she must get here with a full version. I don't want piecemeal versions. Okay, let's
Thank
continue.
You, Chair. If I can continue with that paragraph. From where I was sitting, there was no conflict of interest on my side, as I did not sit on the committees that were doing the evaluation and the voting for the suppliers. I was surprised when I learned from her affidavit that she had twisted the facts to fit her personal agenda. I also only realize now that the reason Massamba is presenting all these false allegations against me is because I refused to help her with prices and other tender information when she needed it for AAR in the past, and when she saw the draft from JM, she conveniently assumed I may have assisted them with information that would help them to win. This allegation is far from the truth, and she knows what I said when I forwarded her that draft. It was for her to have an informative BEE info when she approaches the multinational companies. Massamba is fully aware that I assisted all black-owned companies, including herself, but I had since noticed that she suffered from an extreme case of self-entitlement. When she does not get what she wants, she uses exactly what one had used to assist her against you. What's your response to that portion of her statement?
Her statement is got a lot of personal attack, which I don't want to respond to. She must come and clarify what does she mean when she said, I have requested pricing from her in the past. She must bring that evidence to the commission that I have indeed asked her for pricing in the past besides the USB. So, and she said she refused. So this is a personal attack. She says I have a self-entitlement. She must define and give a full version of what does she mean about this self-entitlement.
Well, you are being given an opportunity to respond to her version and take this opportunity to respond to her version insofar as she may be saying things about you or against you that you say are not true.
Yes.
If you say, I can't respond to the particular allegation because I don't understand what she means, you may say so, but everything that you understand, particularly if you say it's not true what she is saying, you must take this opportunity to deal with it.
Thank you, Chair. The allegation is not true, and her allegation is full of personal attack.
Because I've interrupted you, just go
Okay.
back to say which allegation that she is making against you that you say is not true so that we understand.
All the allegations she refers to on paragraph 8.3 that we're dealing with
Yeah,
Right.
of her statement.
of her statement,
Yes,
the 8.3 that we're dealing with right now,
yes.
that she merely forwarded the information to assist me in understanding supplier development. And I'm saying the statement is not true
Yes.
because at that time, I understand supplier development very well. As a deputy chairperson of the BBBE Charter Council for the Department of Transport, that was our responsibility to actually draft the new codes for the entire transport sector. So what she is alleging here, it's not true. And I am going to confirm that in one of the SMSs that we're going to deal with, where she was going into the meeting and she was asking me for the information of supplier development.
Mr. Mbigwa, just make sure that you take those important parts of her version, Ms. Memela's version, and make sure you
Indeed.
put that to her so that she can deal with them
Indeed.
properly, because on her own she might not be able to deal with
Yes.
all of them.
Massamba, can I ask you to respond in particular to the allegation that Ms. Mamela refused to help you with prices and other tender information when you needed it for AAR in the past?
The only time I've asked Ms. Memela for information, it was on the night that I had a meeting with Ms. Jackson at Bukhara, and I subsequently met with Ms. Memela, and she saved the information on the memory stick for me, and I came back with the information. There has never been any other time that I've requested her to help me in any way with information related to any bid besides that information. And I have already submitted the proof to this commission. So I would expect Ms. Memela to also perhaps submit her proof that she didn't give me any information.
And then, Massamba, at 8.4, and I'm not going to read the whole paragraph, but the key allegation that Ms. Mamela makes is that she denies the allegation that she ever told you that Ms. Kwinana had asked her to assist Mr. Nzeku and Mr. Kulu to prepare a winning bid. What's your response to that?
This one, Chairperson, there's no written proof. So it's her word against mine, except that she forwarded the emails that proved that she actually did communicate with Mr. Nzeku or Ms. Sokulu, with Ms. Sokulu in particular from JM Aviation.
Chair, I see that we are approaching 4 o'clock.
Yes, but I think we must finish with Ms. Sambo.
Indeed, Chair.
We haven't moved with the kind of speed that I would have liked.
That's my fault, Chair.
But I think we are not left with much.
Indeed, Chair.
So let's try and finish.
There's
Yes.
not much in the affidavit.
Yes.
There is something that Massamba just referred to, which is
Yes.
a set of WhatsApp messages that she's provided to the Commission,
Yeah,
which are in her bundle but not in her affidavit.
That's fine.
Which makes it quite important that we deal with them in some detail.
yeah, let's do that.
If we can pick it up back at your affidavit, Massamba, from paragraph 121. Tell us what happened after you were sent those emails by Ms. Mamela. Sorry, that's on page 35. Paragraph 121 on page 35.
Okay. On page 35, can you repeat your question, please?
I'm just asking you to tell us what happened next in the chronology after you were sent the emails by Ms. Mamela, after she forwarded you the emails that had been sent to her by JM Aviation.
Oh, yes, I just safe kept the information. I made sure that I'm keeping this information in case I need it one day. And the next time I talked or used the information was on the 15th of March 2017. AR was attending, AR, SRS, SAT, and a whole lot of organizations that deal with maintenance, repair, and overhaul of aircrafts. There's a yearly conference called the Africa MRO Conference. So AR was represented, I was there. In that meeting, I met with Ms. Cheryl Jackson again, still, expressing how I felt and how she treated or managed our relationship. But she was adamant that they were disappointed when I walked away, and that is where the umbilical cord was cut, basically with SRS. There was, in attendance, there was also a lady called Donna Delia Maluleke, who was working for the embassy in Chicago in 2011 when I was introduced to AAR.
I'm sorry, I just want to try and locate what you are testifying about now in terms of time. Is this a meeting with whom, where, when, that you are now talking about?
This was at the conference.
Yeah,
Which
what
was
conference
at
was
the-
it? I may have missed that. What conference was it?
There was a conference at Emperor's Palace from the 13th to the 17th of March 2017.
Yeah,
And
long after the
long
5 year-
after,
Yes,
long after even the award.
yes.
Yes. At that meeting, there was a lady who used to work for the embassy in Chicago, Miss Donadelia Maluleke, that knew me and also knew Miss Memela and the rest of the team. Post to her resigning at the embassy, she went to join AAR as an employee for AAR, but she was not working on the components deal. But she is somebody that I would talk to as well with my frustration, because she was there from the beginning and she joined AAR. And what she did during that conference, she tried to intervene to get myself and Ms. Nontsasa to sit down and talk about what really happened with the AAR contract. So on that day of the 15th of March, That's when, for the first time, I disclosed to Miss Maluleke that I have this information that Miss Memela forwarded to me that suggested to me that she knew what was happening. She assisted JM Aviation in preparing the bid. And she's the one who told me that JM Aviation was awarded the bid. So I was not happy with that. And Donna then, Miss Maluleke then tried to intervene. I think that's what Advocate Bikito wants to get to now.
Yeah, I don't think I understood how your meeting with Miss Memela ended in Alberton on the day that she broke the news to you of the award of the tender. I remember that you said that you cried and people were looking at you at the restaurant, and she was surprised at your reaction, and ultimately she gave you the information which showed that she had been involved in assisting JM Aviation.
Yes.
But I don't remember that you told me how that meeting ended.
I was so hurt, Chairperson. I had to be excused. I left.
So
No, there was no further discussion.
You could not have
No.
any proper discussion after
No,
that.
no,
And how did she feel with you deciding to leave, Miss Memela? She understood that you were distraught.
she understood absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
She-
Subsequent to that, was there a regular communication between the two of you? Because I understand that up to that point you had become friends.
Yes.
Did your friendship continue beyond that meeting?
Yes.
It continued.
Yes, thereafter we started to speak in general. I went into depression, and I would still tell her that I'm in and out of hospital, and if there's a discovery at hospital, I would even share with her that this is now the new discovery, I'm going to do this operation. So there was, yes, there was that communication between the two of us.
Did you feel let down in any way by her role in the awarding of this tender?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Why?
Because I knew that Miss Memela had her best interest at heart to see me succeed. And I knew how hard she tried to introduce me to even other international companies to partner with me. So in this journey, Miss Memela has always been there. She became a friend, and when AAR was turning their back on me, she was there to say, try Air France. Maybe Air France will give you an audience. She took it upon herself to make introductions. And with that, I completely believed that sincerely, Miss Memela wanted me to succeed in this industry. But at the same time, in our discussions, she appeared to have found herself in the middle of I could call it a place, a hard rock and a hard place, because now she has me this side, an entrepreneur who really wants to break through this industry, and I really want to work, and I'm really putting the entire effort. And on this side here is the force that says, help this one, and to a certain degree, I felt I don't know how to explain this, but it was confusion, it was heartbreak, it was feeling of betrayal, it was a whole lot of things. And therefore, immediately, I couldn't just walk away from her. I remained and we had communication because I wanted to understand to the T what really, really happened.
But what is it that she did which you saw as her letting you down or betraying you or betraying your friendship with her?
The emails that she forwarded that she indeed assisted JM Aviation, because at some point she said she doesn't know Mr. Nzeko. At some point that is the discussion we were having. She was saying she doesn't know him. And
But,
then later on she indicated that Miss Kwinana introduced Mr. Nzeko to her and also asked her to assist Mr. Nzeko.
Yes, but why didn't you accept that as true, namely that she was asked by Miss Kwinana to assist Mr. Nzeko, and that's why she was assisting?
I'm not disputing it.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
trying to understand what it is that she did that made you feel she had betrayed you. Because you are
Yes.
saying you were friends, and you are saying you believed that she had your best interest at heart, and she was trying to assist. She said, well, if AAR is treating you like this, maybe try Air France, and so on. So now, the tender had been awarded to JMV and AAR,
Yes.
and she told you what had happened. What is it that she did that made you feel she had betrayed you?
I just felt she was sitting in a position of power as the head of procurement. And she was there at the meeting in Pigali when I introduced AAR. And she was there seeing me in and out with AAR at SAA Technical. And thereafter we also developed a friendship and we could talk about this deal. And at that time, I believed sitting at the position of power, she could have, I'm not saying it was her responsibility, but she was sitting at a position that she could still have advised AAR better. I'm not saying it was her responsibility, and that's how I feel. I'm not saying that's what she was supposed to do. Yes.
But she was not AAR's advisor as well, isn't
No,
it?
she was not.
Yes.
She was not. Hence, I'm
But
saying.
if it is true that she had been asked by Miss Kwinana to assist Mr. Nzeko or JM Aviation,
Yes.
would you, and she complied, let's assume she complied, would you still feel that she betrayed you?
I don't know, Chair.
Okay, no, that's fine. I just want to try and understand your own perspective.
Yes.
But also, I don't know that I understand completely why she would have given you the emails that she gave you, because she said to you she had been asked by Miss Kwinana to assist JM
Yes.
Aviation,
Yes.
and she told you that.
Yes.
Did you not believe that, and she had to prove it, and why would she have felt she needed to prove it by way of giving you the emails?
I don't know, but she proved she qualified her statement that Miss Yake Kwinana asked her to assist JM Aviation, and
Yes.
she actually did assist them, and she forwarded me the proof.
Yes.
Yes. So
Would you-
I think
Would you say when she told you that she was asked by Miss Kwinana to assist JM Aviation, And when she told you that she did actually assist JM Aviation, she didn't think that that would hurt you? Because I get the impression that that's part of what hurt you. But you must tell
Yes.
me if my thinking is not correct.
No, definitely, yes. Indeed, I was hurt by all the
Yes.
activities, including her participation in assisting JM Aviation.
But you are not saying that she was showing you all of this because she wanted to hurt you in any way.
No, I don't
That's
think.
not what you are saying.
No. I
Yeah.
don't think she wanted to hurt me in any way.
Yes.
I think, as a friend now.
Maybe she was being candid with you
She
about
was,
her role.
yes, because she has been from the beginning.
Yeah, and you said
Yes.
she was shocked or she was surprised as to your reaction when you cried, is that right?
Yes.
So she might not have thought that whatever role she played might hurt you.
I don't think she was aware that I was already slipping into the depression.
Yes.
Because remember, AAR had already cut me off.
Yes.
They didn't submit the bid with me. At that time already, it's hurting so badly
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
working so hard.
Yes. Yes.
And with her confirming that they went in with JM Aviation and now thinking about seeing Miss Jackson with Mr. Nzeku at the lobby at Intercontinental Hotel at OR Tambo, now playing back everything, it became very clear to me that I would get hurt, that, the whole process was just so wrong. It was just so wrong.
Would it be correct, or would it be correct to say your reaction was more about the reality which you were now seeing, which she had told you effectively that you really had lost out, and not so much what her role was in that?
Yes,
Would that be fair comment?
that will be
Fair comment.
a fair comment.
Hence the fact that afterwards your friendship still continued, is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
At some point, I needed to separate her as a procurement manager at SAR and her as my friend.
Yes.
And hence, we continued with the text messages.
So you did have some sense of feeling that she had betrayed you, but I get the impression you can't put your finger to exactly what it is that you say she did that showed betrayal.
To a certain extent, I believe that in her personal capacity, in her own accord, the way I know Miss Memela, without being influenced by anyone, she would not have done that to me.
Yes. And that should go a long way to
Yes.
saying to you, even if you don't like the fact that she played a role, but you understand
Yes,
the circumstances under which she played that role.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Massamba, there are just two further aspects I would like to deal with before we get to the WhatsApp messages. The first is this meeting with Ms. Mamela. I just want to clarify the date of it. You say at paragraph 125 that it was in early 2016. And I just want to check that you're sure of that, because the evidence that we've got and that will be led tomorrow suggests that the award was only made in May 2016.
Then this would be incorrect. Chair, can I request to correct my affidavit. I guess it's one of those areas that I couldn't place well in time.
No, that's fine. If what you wrote is what you believed was the correct date at the time, that's fine. You are clarifying that you would accept the other date now.
Yes.
And the Commission's legal team and your legal team will look at the possibility whether you should file any supplementary affidavit to clarify that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last aspect, Massamba, is at paragraph 128 of your affidavit. Can you just describe what Ms. Mamela said about Ms. Chabalala?
I verbally told Advocate Memela that I was going to institute a legal action. She informed me that she did not work alone in assisting AAR with the bid submission, and that she worked with Miss Princess Shabalala, who was the senior manager.
I'm sorry, Ms. Sambo. I think there's something that you must have said before you come to that point. You now say you told her there was to be action, you were going to institute action. Had you come to the decision to sue anybody, and if so, who was it, and when did you come to that decision?
Yes, upon realizing that, post my meeting with Miss Memela, where she indicated that the bid is now finalized and it was awarded to JM Aviation in partnership with AAR. This is when I believed that I have a valid legal case to institute legal proceedings.
Against? Or you didn't know who against at that time, or you were advised subsequently? I just want to get that picture before you come to talking about Ms. Shabalala.
That I would institute a legal action against her, Ms. Memela.
Oh, okay. Her alone, or?
At that time,
That's what you thought at that time?
the evidence that I had in my possession is what she has sent to me.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, yes, then continue. You then told her you were going to sue her, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, tell me about that and how that issue moved forward.
Sorry. The legal action also was going to be instituted against AAR on the basis of a verbal agreement that I believed at that time would hold water.
Yes. Would this be an action for damages, financial loss, for money that you thought should have been paid by AAR to you for the work you had done, and or for the role that Ms. Memela had played in the awarding in assisting JM Aviation? Was that what it was going to be about?
Yes.
Okay, continue.
And in our discussion, Ms. Memela indicated that she didn't work alone to assist AAR in preparing for the bid submission, and that she specifically mentioned Ms. Princess Shabalala, who was the senior manager, supply chain management at South African Airways Technical.
Yes, Mr. Mbeki.
And what did Ms. Chabalala say to you?
One day I went to SAA Technical, now as one of the suppliers on the day-to-day quotation system, to meet other suppliers, and she saw me in the corridor Then she requested me to step in to her office. She wanted to talk to me. And this is when she told me that Miss Memela indicated that I want to take legal action against the whole process that took place till the award of the contract to AAR and JM Aviation. And in that meeting, she mentioned to me that I must remember that I didn't know, but she told me she was a single mom and she needed the job. So if I sue anyone, she is going to lose her job. And Miss Memela had promised them that they will be paid money once JM Aviation in partnership with AAR received or have received, once the award was given to AAR and JM Aviation, then they will be compensated for assisting them in submitting the bid.
This is another aspect in respect of which Ms. Mamela has filed a response. It's not necessary for us to go there, but basically at paragraph 8.9 of her statement, she denies ever having told Ms. Chabalala or any of her staff that Mr. Nzeku or Ms. Kwinana had promised them money. And she suggests that the fact that you say, but money was never given, is questionable and shows that there was no money that was ever promised or discussed by anyone. What's your response to that?
I have email, SMS messages where Ms. Memela is confirming the allegation I have against her. I can try and find the SMS.
Well, I would like to turn to the SMSs next, so
Okay.
let's go there.
Okay.
What's the page number?
We can start at 522. Ms. Sambo, can you just start by telling us what these messages are?
Okay. There are two sets of messages. Miss Memela had two phones, and we would send, if I remember very well, one was a business phone and another one was her personal phone. I stand for correction on that one. But generally, we would talk as friends. The SMSs or the WhatsApps that I managed to retrieve from my phone only starts in mostly they are in 2017. I don't know if there's
The messages started at 517, if that's helpful. That's the first page of the messages.
I just want to check the dates of the okay, yes, thank you. So the SMSs that I have span through from the 17th of November 2016, which was way after the contract was awarded to AAR and JM Aviation. In the messages, there is a combination of our friendly messages, and at some point there are messages from the 15th of March 2017 that now have got some allegations against me.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yes. So just to...
Well, I thought we are going to the message that confirms one of the allegations you have made against her. Let's get there. Mr. Mbidyo, let's get to that one.
Chair, I'm not sure which specific message Ms. Samba is referring to.
Which one did you have in mind?
Do you have a particular message in mind?
Tell us what the allegation you make against her, and you tell us that what she said in the message to you, which you say confirms the truthfulness of that allegation. Then we can go and look for the message.
Please remind me, Chair, which element of my affidavit we were talking about at that time? Because there's so many things.
We were talking about Ms. Chabalala.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
about
yes.
Ms. Chabalala.
Yeah, you had said you were going to sue
Yes,
Ms. Yeah.
yes. So I would like to find that SMS where she referred to Ms. Chabalala.
Do you remember what she says in the message about Ms. Chabalala?
Yes.
Or to you, what she says in the message?
Yes, basically on the 15th of March, that's when for the first time I told Ms. Maluleke that I've got all these emails that are implicating Ms. Memela that she forwarded to me, and I want to take legal action. And Ms. Maluleke in turn went to Ms. Memela to tell her that I've got information against her that I want to open a legal case on. But on the messages, she's alleging that I said I will go to the newspapers and this and that, but I remember I wanted to open a formal legal.
Do you remember what she said, which you say supports your allegation? What did she say in the message, as far as you can recall?
Yes, as far as I can recall, she indicated on the WhatsApp message, once she realized that I have that information against her, she then indicated that if I think I'm going to destroy her, I must know that I won't be destroying her alone. I will be destroying her and other people, and she mentioned the names. She mentioned Miss Princess Chabalala, and she mentioned Mr. Zwane, the CEO.
Can we turn to page 532, Chair? The message is at the bottom of that page. 532. Are you there, Ms. Samba?
Yes, I am.
And if you go right to the bottom.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Who's that a message from?
The message is from Miss Nontsasa Memela. It was sent to me on the 20th of March, 2017 at 21:44, 19 seconds at night.
And just for context, can you read the message just above at 3:05 on the 20th of March, at 15:05?
Okay. At 15:05 on the 20th of March 2017, Nontsasa Memela sent me a message saying, I just had a meeting with Donna referring to Miss Maluleke, for 2 hours. This is really disappointing.
I'm sorry, let me try and see where you are. Are you at 532?
532, Chair.
Where about
halfway through the page, that you'll see the time
Oh, yes,
stamp.
I see. I just had a meeting with Donna.
That's
okay,
the one.
Yes, all
Yeah.
right, yes. Continue.
This is really disappointing and discouraging. Let's meet when you are free. Ngizozwa ngawe, meaning I will hear from you.
Yes.
And then can we go to the message that you were going to read, the one at 9:44?
Yes. So, it says, I want to tell you, that's the second last
That's
sentence.
the one at 2144.
At 2144.
Yeah.
Massamba, can I ask that you read the whole message into the record? It's just that
Okay.
because you've provided these messages to the
Yes.
Commission quite late,
Okay.
they aren't part of your affidavit.
Okay. This is a message that came from Miss Nontsasa Memela. So she said, meaning, so Donna said, Miss Maluleke said, by the time you got to her, meaning Miss Maluleke, you were ready to show her the information. That I was ready to show Miss Maluleke the information, which made her uncomfortable. Her, yes, I'll just say once now, that is Miss Maluleke. Uncomfortable because she started asking herself if you had shown it to someone else. She's referring to the emails that Miss Memela emailed to me. You were even contemplating to call City Press to give them the info. Now, my sister, all I want to know is, when did this become about me? When did I become your sudden enemy? Apparently, you said to her, I am the one who forced you to not work with AAR. I was on speed dial because every decision you took, it was my advice. Haibo. I was really shocked. All I ever did for you was to help. Even the info that you are using now was sent to you in good faith to help you. Even before that, when you wanted price info for Cheryl, I gave that to you. Can I say something about this?
Just get to the end of the sentence and then
Okay. I gave that to you, as I never thought you would one day plan to use it against me. Here, I believe she's referring to the USB that on her notice, on the response on the notice 3.3, she denies to giving me. But on the SMS, she agrees. Even when you asked about the fuel info, the fuel in you, I think it was the fuel, if you were in the waiting list, I took a photo for you and sent it to you on WhatsApp. Now, how did this change and be about me? I want you to believe honest with me and tell me, when did I ever wronged you to an extent that you will vouch to destroy my career? What did I promise you? Was I not the one who kept on asking you to have a contract with AAR, and you promised me that your lawyer was working on it? I even offered to do it for free. Is the fact that AAR also started working with Bongani and Rafiq also my fault? Did I introduce them as well to AAR? My sister, I feel so betrayed right now. My willingness to want to help you as my black sister is turning on me now. I remember when I was questioned by the accused, by the auditors, because I was fighting for you to get business at SAT, and they accused me of having personal interest because everywhere I went, I mentioned your company. I want you to tell me, why is this now my fault? I had to tell the CEO, Yake, and Princess, because as much as you would think you're destroying me, they will also get affected. You want me to read?
if you just pause there and explain that last message, because I think that was the message that you wanted to refer to. That was the portion you wanted to refer to.
Yes, I wanted to prove that Ms. Memela indicates that I am lying on her response on the notice 3.3. She denies having worked with Ms. Kwinana, the CEO, and Ms. Princess Shabalala. And I just wanted to give this as evidence from her text message to me to prove that I am correct in my statement.
Okay, please continue from where you left off.
They also want a meeting with you. Maybe you will be able to tell them why is this all my fault now. What kills me is, even if you would have gone to the Hawks or City Press, I would have defended you. I wouldn't even had suspected you. How do I trust you now going forward? Because you were laughing with me, and I only find out now that you see me as an enemy that should be destroyed. I broke all the rules for you, Sibo. I brought you in at Lauren's office for you to prepare for logistics. I demanded for Sambi to make sure Dedian be your partner. I was accused of eating from your pocket because I was preaching to everyone who cared to listen that you deserve to be on top of the list. How did it get to this where you see me as your enemy? Mina, I wouldn't worry if this was just about me, but many people were involved in this who have no idea what you are planning. I told you about Sis D, that she wanted me to help AJ Walters to win, but I couldn't, and now I am an enemy. I understand her, but you, it's a pill that I find difficult to swallow.
Can I pause you there, Massamba?
Yes.
Who is Sis D?
At the time of the message, I believed that Ms. D, she was referring to Ms. Dudumien.
And what is the reference to Ms. Mieni wanting you to help AJ Walters to win?
No, she was telling me that Ms. Dudumien wanted her to assist AJ Walters also.
And what is that a reference to?
Meaning, sorry, maybe I don't know.
In other words,
What is she-
do you know what Ms. Memela was supposed to help AJ Waters to get or to win? Was it a tender?
Oh, it's the components bid.
The same one that
The same,
the same one that you're talking about.
yes, the components
okay.
bid. Yes.
Please go on.
I understand her, but you, it's a pill that I find difficult to swallow. I didn't hide anything to you. I was very transparent with you, but our meeting at night, I didn't have all the information at that time. Let me know if I should call all of them in this meeting or you will talk to me. Just imagine if Lauren were to spill the beans about giving us that money we shared. How would you feel about that? Imagine if Musa were to tell all that you called him to meet at the garage and you asked him the prices for the components. Yes, he was disappointed, but he kept it to himself.
Can I pause you there, Ms. Samba? What is
Yes.
the reference to imagine if Lauren were to spill the beans about giving us that money we shared?
Lauren, I think she meant a lady called Lorraine Pillay. You remember I indicated earlier in my statement that they asked me, Ms. Memela and Ms. Yake Kwinana asked me if I know anybody on the logistics side. So
hang on. Is she not going to implicate people who might not have been given 3 notices?
Indeed, Chair.
Yeah, let's not do that. if she needs to come back later, let those people be given notices first.
Certainly, Chair.
Yeah. Okay. If there is something she wants to still read that doesn't implicate people who have not been given 3-3 notices, that's fine. But
Chair, the other references in the WhatsApps that I was going to take you to would involve some level of implication for others.
yeah.
So we'll save that for
Yeah.
another time.
Okay.
Chair, that's
Ms. Sambo, you understand why I'm not allowing you to proceed?
I understand.
Yes, because as I understand the position, you gave these emails to the Commission's legal team late,
Yes.
and they wouldn't have notified people who might be implicated in this email exchange or in these emails
Yes.
that their names would be mentioned in your evidence in these circumstances. And that should be done first before we get there. So you might be asked to come back at a later stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
Chair, the last aspect is the Facebook photos that we have tried repeatedly
Oh, yes.
to get into an acceptable form. If I could hand this up, what we've managed to do, Chair, is to take the blown up versions and paginate them in accordance with Ms. Sambo's bundle to be inserted at the back. It wasn't possible, unfortunately, for us to simply insert them where Ms. Sambo's photographs were, because the enlargement affected the pagination.
Yes, and the pagination which appears here belongs to this bundle.
It belongs to this bundle,
Okay,
Chair.
that's fine. That's fine.
Ms. Sambo, can I ask you, in that those pages you've just been handed, can you
Yes.
go to page 568?
Yes.
Are these the photographs that you downloaded after Ms. Mamela went on the delegation?
Yes.
And can you read what her post is together with those photographs?
We're about to be jetted to Indianapolis. Inside the jet, the air hostess serving us with one of our pilots, map behind me of where we were, and food that we were served.
And then if you can turn to page 570. And if you can read that.
I take it that there is some significance in these photos. There's something important about what is shown.
Indeed, Chair. In the course of tomorrow's evidence and Friday's evidence, one aspect we will traverse is whether the gifts and gratuity that was obtained on this trip was permissible in terms of the South African Airways policies at the time.
But in relation to this witness, is there something important?
Chair, we can deal with it with the next witness. The reason
Yeah.
we're dealing it with Ms. Sambo is because she downloaded the photographs.
And she mentioned them.
Indeed.
Well, if she confirms that she downloaded them, that might be enough.
That's probably enough, indeed, Chair.
Yeah. You confirm that?
Yes.
Okay, and that's pages 558 to 573. Is that right?
Confirm.
Yeah, okay.
Chair, that concludes my questions for Ms. Sambo.
Yes.
There is something that Ms. Hofmeyer needs to communicate just to conclude the proceedings very briefly.
Yes, but nothing to do with the witness.
Nothing to do with the witness.
Yes, okay. Ms. Sambo, thank you very much for coming to give evidence. We
It's my
appreciate
pleasure.
it. You probably will be called to come back and deal with the matters that are dealt with in some of the emails that could not be dealt with because relevant people have not been given notice yet. But
Yes.
thank you very much, and you are excused.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Hofmeyer?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, just in the moment's break there between the questioning and your excusing of Ms. Sambo, her legal representatives have indicated to me that there are 2 matters that they'd like to clarify in re-examination. I wonder if you'd like to do that before I deal with the procedural matter.
Well, if she's going to come back, maybe they should re-examine when she comes back and she has finished everything, rather than do it in piecemeal, yeah.
Indeed.
Okay.
Thank you for that direction,
Yeah,
Chair.
okay.
Chair, I'm taking a moment simply because at 3:53 this afternoon, the Secretariat received a communication from Ms. Mamela that she has requested be brought to the attention of the Commission. I'd like, in fairness to her, simply to read it in and then to make 1 or 2 submissions from the legal team in response. Ms. Mamela has written to the Secretariat to say the following: Dear Secretary and the legal team, I've just learned that it was announced on today's hearing that I will be appearing on the Commission on Friday. I confirm that I've only received the summons on the 3rd of February 2020, and I did write to the investigating team that I will be meeting my lawyer to respond to the summons regarding appearing on the Commission, as I strongly believe that I am not the relevant person to appear, especially on the matters listed in the summons, as they were the decisions of the board. I've since written a statement addressing those items, and I've never agreed to appear. Apologies. That's what happens when you're working with a screen that you don't touch all the time. She says, and I've since written a statement addressing those items, and I've never agreed to appear on the 7th, as it was announced today on TV. I've made an application to cross-examine Ms. Sambo, and I will still make an application to cross-examine Mr. Human when I respond to the Rule 3.3 notice that she received in respect of him. I therefore request that such announcement be corrected until my lawyer responds to the summons. I hope you find the above in order. Chair, so the request was that it be communicated. It has been communicated. Chair, our submissions are as follows. We submit that Ms. Mamela's failure to agree to appear is irrelevant. Ms. Mamela has been served with a summons, and it is a criminal offence under the Commissions Act not to appear after having been served with a summons from this Commission. We will, of course, take into account any representations that she provides to the Commission and address them before you, probably if we only receive it tomorrow at the commencement of Friday's hearing. And it is our proposal that Ms. Mamela appear on Friday to deal with any application that she wishes to bring in relation to that summons so that it can be properly ventilated.
Well, if she has been served with a summons that says she must appear before the Commission on Friday, then she is obliged to appear before
Indeed.
the Commission on Friday unless she has good cause not to do so, in which case she can't just stay at home. She needs to take steps, and I'm sure her legal representatives will advise her what to do if she has good cause not to appear, and she will put up her application to achieve a result in terms of which she would not be required to appear on Friday. But until the summons is withdrawn or set aside, it would remain as obligatory on her to appear or to initiate proceedings that would ensure that she doesn't commit an offense on Friday.
Indeed. Thank you, Chair.
Yes. She's not represented, none of the lawyers.
Not as I have it
represent
today,
her.
no.
Okay, no, that's fine. Okay, we are going to adjourn then, and tomorrow we'll start at 10 o'clock.
Thank you, Chair.
We adjourn.